Hello, welcome back to Music Impossible. I'm Professor Jim, and this is lesson 13 of our AP Music Theory journey together. And we're going to continue down the path of scales and scale degrees. So let's take a look at our scale degree names. Now, every single note of a scale has its own unique name. So if I'm in the key of C and I have a C major scale, no sharps, no flats, each scale letter, it can be described three different ways. And we're going to talk about those three ways. The first one is there can be a scale degree number. A scale degree number is going to look a lot like this. So if I had scale degree number 1, we put a little caret or a top hat on top of that. And in the key of C major, the first scale degree would be C. And let's say, let's go up to the note G in the key of C. The note G in the key of C would be scale degree 5. But here's the thing. If we were in the key of G major, 1 sharp, then in that case, it would be considered scale degree number 1, 1 with the caret over top. So in the key of G, G major would be the first scale degree. So it's kind of a movable idea that we can move around and change these scale degrees based on the key or scale we're playing in. Our second way we name things is by scale degree name. Scale degree name. So if we're talking about the first scale degree in the key of C, we know that's scale degree number 1 in the key of C. That name is tonic, and that's certainly a word we've seen before. But every other letter in the musical alphabet of that scale also has a name. We're going to review that on our next slide here. So we have scale degree number, scale degree name, and lastly, we have solfege. And solfege is a series of syllables that are assigned to each note of the scale. Kind of made famous by the song Do, Re, Mi from Sound of Music. Do, a deer, a female deer, where they go up every note of the major scale and assign a syllable to that. So going back to our first example, if we have scale degree number 1 in the key of C, that would be the note C. That's known as the tonic. And then finally, the solfege would be Do. Let's examine all of these different scale degrees. We talked about scale degree number 1 and tonic and what that means. And that is the solfege Do. It is what the scale is built upon. It's the home note. Scale degree number 2, we refer to that as Re, is the solfege syllable, and it's called the supertonic. And supertonic, super, the prefix just means above or more than, so it's just above the tonic. So in the key of C, our supertonic note would be D. As we go along to the third scale degree, that's our solfege Mi, Do, Re, Mi. That's called the mediant, or halfway between the tonic and the dominant, tonic and dominant, which we'll get to in just a second. And it also is the middle note of a triad or a chord. We're going to get to triads down the road, but it's that middle note in a triad. So mediant, middle. We move on to scale degree number 4. That brings us to Fa. Do, Re, Mi, Fa is called the subdominant. Sub meaning under, so it is just under the dominant note. And as you might guess, the dominant is scale degree number 5. The solfege for that is Sol. Really important scale degree. We're going to be talking an awful lot about the dominant and its relationship to the tonic. A lot of times we have movement between dominant and tonic. Very strong movement there, particularly at the end of phrases and at the end of pieces of music. We get a lot of scale degree 5 to scale degree 1 movement, especially in our lowest voice. Scale degree number 6 is solfege La. Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La. We call that the submediant. If the mediant, scale degree 3, is a third above the tonic, well, submediant is a third below the tonic, and that's built on scale degree number 6. You could go down 2 notes from Do and get to the submediant going that direction, or you could go up 6 scale degrees to the submediant. Either way, you're going to get there. So a third down from the tonic is the submediant, a third up from the tonic is the mediant, hence the name submediant. And maybe one of the most important tones of all outside of Do, that home note, is this relationship between scale degree 7, or the leading tone, known as T in solfege, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti. That half-step relationship between the leading tone and tonic is super powerful. Lots of pull towards the tonic. It sort of leads that way. Those half-step relationships that we learned about in the major scale play very important roles in harmony, especially, and even melodic movements. So that's 7 to 8 and 4 to 3. Those half-step movements in the major scale, major keys, is going to be one of great importance as we go. All right, let's head over to Sibelius and let's look at all of these terms with a different scale. We talked a lot about the key of C here. Here's the key of D, a D major chord here, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, and D. We have our whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. And let's look at that in the key of D. Same thing. This is all moving things. So a movable do, sometimes it's referred as. That do is not one note. Do is the tonic of whatever key we're in. And then when we get to the second scale degree, we go to scale degree number 2. That's going to be our super tonic, or just above the first scale degree, also known as re. Third scale degree, we get to the mediant. That's right in the middle between scale degree 1 and 5, or tonic and dominant. And that's going to be the solfege mi. Scale degree number 4 takes us to the subdominant right here. The subdominant is do, re, mi, fa. Then we get to that ever important scale degree number 5, that dominant, the dominant right here, scale degree number 5. It's an A in the key of D. It was a G in the key of C. It's the 5th scale degree, also known as sol. Then we get to the 6th scale degree. That is our submediant. Kind of easier to see here. You can see it's 2 notes down from the tonic note when we repeat that higher D, right? Just like the mediant is a third up from the tonic, the submediant, or under, is going to be a third down. And then finally, we have our ever important scale degree number 7, our leading tone. Our leading tone, also known as T in solfege. That's that half-step relationship between 7 and 8, or 7 and 1, as we repeat the tonic at the top of the scale. And we get to scale degree number 8. A lot of times it's just scale degree number 1, and so sometimes it's referred to as 8, sometimes 1. Either way is correct, and that is going to be our repeat of the tonic and do once again. And as we look at this nomenclature of how we name different parts of a scale, know that throughout the course of this class and your music careers, that any of these terms could be used interchangeably sometimes as it refers to different things. So, when we talk about a major triad, that's built on the 1st, 3rd, and 5th scale degree, and the dominant to tonic movement. And we're going to make sure we're going to have the nice leading tone, T to do, in this particular arrangement. So these terms could be used interchangeably as you go through your journey in music theory and music in general. All right, so that's lesson 13. Next time, we're going to dive into the same terms and how they apply to minor scales and some of the minor changes that happen with those scales. See you next time.